Financial things to look at here. Elizabeth's already doing it. Not in the private group. I mean, public is not a big deal because, I mean, right. And nobody online is going to get to vote. No swearing, Ashland. Oh, good, 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 good. This is the perfect. Perfect, 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 perfect. You can sit down here. What? No. That was good. All right. Well, this is the first business meeting we've had for over 18 months, probably, maybe even a little bit longer. I'm going to sit down because my knee's kind of killing me today. I'm good here. Perfect. So we have several things that I'd like to talk to. We do have a quorum, so we will be voting today. We do have a new budget for 2021. But the first thing that I think we should do is we should talk about who, if anybody here, or if we would like to calf rope somebody into it. Gail came to me last Sunday and said, if you could find somebody else to be the church clerk, she said, I can't do it anymore. She can't put it all together and stuff, and that's fine. And she's wrestling through some stuff as well. So would anybody? What the church clerk does basically is just the secretary for the church. So they do all of the minutes for the meetings for the most part. The business meeting. Roberta normally does the minutes for the finance committee meetings, so that's not something that the church clerk needs to be there for. Basically, it's the business meeting minutes and any special called business meetings, yep, any special meetings that we have. So would anybody be interested or willing to do that? Roberta has raised her hand. Anybody else be willing to do that? Not that I don't want Roberta to do it, but Roberta does a lot, so I would love to share the responsibility with somebody else that would be like to do that. That's good at that. My wife is raising her hand, and no. Okay, competition. Perfect, and I'm seeing her, and I'm kind of ignoring my wife to see if there's anybody else that would be interested in being the church clerk. It's only a year thing, and you kind of just, if you say you'll keep doing it, then we don't vote. But if you do it for a year and you're like, I don't want to do this ever again in my life, then that would be fine. Mm-hmm. Yep. And if you remember, there's several times where Gail asked, or Melody, or Tessa, because they've all been. We could vote Tessa into this, and then she'd be exactly. That's whatever. She could be. They could be on the live stream right now, and she could be thinking, "Oh my goodness!" And I could just say, "Bernice, Al, Tessa, Rick, you don't get to vote on this because you're not a person." So, oh, thanks for the sheep. Can you take these to Mom and get out of the camera? So anyhow, I have any other people that might feel called, that as you've been praying about what is your ministry, writing might have been something that was, that you felt called to. Anybody? Going once. Okay, we have two. I'm just trying to think of who is the least busy of the two. That's who I would endorse. Okay. Roberta? Rober- okay. The, uh, the, uh, the two people to vote for are Robin Fear and Roberta Stacy Waite, but the official endorsement from Community Church is Roberta Stacy. No, no. Robin is withdrawing. So Roberta is our only candidate. Anybody else? No, Ashland, I've seen your writing. You cannot be the church clerk. All right, if there is nobody else, by default, Roberta would become the church clerk, so she can begin. Do you have paper to take minutes? She's ready.
Does she get to write that as her first minute?
Yep.
Congratulations. No, you beat out the pastor's wife. Hey, get out of the sun.
Was that Eric?
No, that was
Good, good, good.
I thought she was
Okay, so now what you have in front of you are 4 pieces of paper. The first two are with the kind of they're not double spaced. That is our actual budget that we are working off of right now on the first page. The second page is all of the accounts that we haven't designated. And then the last 2 pages are the proposed budget for next year. So, 2021. Yep. 20 and, 21, 22. You're right. 21, 22. So go ahead and look over the budget that we are operating under right now. So our water went over budget, just so you see that, because I don't know if you remember this, we had a pipe burst. I don't know if that caused all of that overage, but we have a daycare, so kids are washing their hands 10,385 times a day, and the dishwasher's running. But hey, we didn't do it this time because we've still got paper, but we're eventually going to do plates for our potlucks because we can just wash them right away. So yes, it made me think about maybe we don't want to fix the dishwashers at the gathering place. Maybe we just want to throw both of those away and get one like this for an under the counter over there. But that's a way down the road discussion. And you can see that the pastor has overspent his health, his medical fund. He does that every year because he has a family. So what we do is that $3,096 will just be absorbed out of the next budget. We'll talk about that when we get to that. And then the other overage and maintenance was $5,141.45, and that was the fun and exciting shutoff that we have out where our sidewalk's still not fixed. We have to put the concrete in. That's our responsibility, and we can't put it in ourselves. We have to hire one of the approved companies by the city so that we can pay an exorbitant amount of money to. And yes, I'm hoping that's on the internet and it goes viral. But we have to use a company that is approved by the city of Bismarck to have that fixed. So we need to start looking into that. It hasn't been on my radar at all. So those are the 3 categories that went over budget. Notice there is $31.99.76 left in the pastor's housing, and that should actually reflect like $15.99, whatever. Right, I haven't gotten either check this month. We have not had enough money to pay me this month. So I got, right. I got the one from the end of the month last month today. And so I have 2 more coming if there's funds to pay. So we'll talk about that as well. But any questions about the budget? Yes, it's on the next page. We'll talk about that next. Just the budget, so just the single space stuff where it says budget standings on down. Not the top part, because we'll have to come back to that to talk. And any questions about the budget? All right, not seeing any. Go ahead and go to the second page. And if you notice that we have designated accounts, and then we have benevolence, which we have $2,400 in that. Church insurance, which is $1,174. And we received $8,500 and we spent $87. That's our building insurance for this building and the new building. We have not received a quote for if our insurance goes, we have. $209,000? Oh man, that's awesome. Oh, I'll take that. I didn't think it would go up much. 6th. Oh man, that's phenomenal. I'll take $209 increase 4 times a year. Oh.
Yeah, but, and it may be just from when we started,
Yeah, it
prorated.
says endorsement.
It says
209.
endorsement.
Yep, 4.6. So,
So this is what we pay. That's not past due, that's just cross.
okay, okay.
But this is the additional amount.
So $800 a year for the daycare. Man, that's phenomenal. Probably, but I think that is exactly accurate. Good, good. So we pay quarterly. Perfect, 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 perfect. So we are. So when will that be paid next? Insurance. Oh, I guess I could look, couldn't I? This was for June 1st, so you just paid this, right? So the next one will be September. Okay. Okay. So, and our designated for church insurance right now is $1,174. So we're about halfway there to what we need to pay to make that payment by September. So that's that. Kids Camp savings is at $346.70. We did not have any children go to Kids Camp this year, so that's why that's where that's at. Missions is $45.85.38. That is something that we need to start thinking about, maybe starting missions again. COVID is kind of going away all across, now that they've realized that Fauci was a liar. Oh, I'm online. That's right, I'm online. Good deal. It's going on to the more people hear the truth. It will set them free. Taxes special assessment, we have $9,466.25. October, but it is not $9,000. No, we're doing pretty good with that. And then youth savings, we have $1,500 in that. That's for camp. That will have to. We will be spending some of that, probably about $600 of that in the next this month for kids going to youth camp in July. Audio visual is $300. Outside our wall has almost $8,000. The loan pay down, and that is the loan on the building in Mandan. We have $1,140 in that account. We've paid probably $10,000, maybe a little more than that, down on the loan. Our loan, or our original amount was 385,000. I think we're down to 372, something like that. So it's not going quickly, but that's one of the things. When we get to the daycare and we talk about that, we'll talk about the loans and stuff like that. So any questions about any of the designated funds? Yep. Transfers. Right. Okay. Okay. 17,000. Did everybody understand what the, yeah. What Roberta said was she has not transferred all of the money from the budget into the designated accounts. Those for taxes, special assessments, and insurance, those two. So she hasn't transferred. She hasn't transferred those over. No. No. So, and yeah, last several years, we have a couple, actually, you know what? Look at that front page again. This might be the best way to explain it. The number is 2015 on the front page. Category account is 2015 is one of them, and the other one is 2620. So as a church, we said that. Nope, that's not it. Yeah, that's the loan paid. That's not it. I'm working on. There we go. 2610 and 2620. So as a church, we said that we would set aside $8,300 every year for the year for our insurance, because that's what our insurance bill is, approximately. And we said that we would set aside $6,200 because that is what our taxes and special assessments will be for the year. So, but she said because the giving was down, she did not transfer those funds to savings, because that, so if you look at those two numbers, 8,300 and 6,200, that totals out to be $14,500. That would be transferred to savings for designated, because we as a church decided that that portion of our offerings would be given, set aside for those insurance, because they come due and they're big chunks of money. Like this bill right here is $2,400. So sometimes we don't have that much money in our checking account. So if we put it into savings and we hold it in savings, when that money comes due, then Roberta can transfer that money over to our checking account, pay that big bill, and we have the money for it. So that's why, as a church, why we voted to do that. And we still have that in the new budget as well. But so she said giving this last year was down so significantly that she decided not to do the transfers so that she could pay the bills. So that's where that is. Does that make sense now? Yes? Right. Right. So any... What would our actual balance be then for insurance and taxes, special assessments? What do we really have in there? Yeah. You know what? Don't worry about it. If you could maybe make another column for the designated so that we have those actual numbers in there, so that we know instead of $9,466.25, maybe we only have $5,000 in there. I'm just making up a number. And then with insurance as well, that we don't really have $1,000 in there, maybe we only have 400, so that we just know our accurate numbers with that too. And I think and this is the church, you guys talk about this, and we'll decide this. I think maybe what we should do is, let's not worry about what that balance should be. Let's just start from here, what that balance is, and that way we Does that make sense? So we're not gonna worry about the $11,000 that didn't get put in there. We're just gonna deal with what we really have. Is everybody in agreement with, does that sound like a good idea? Pat, what are your thoughts? Okay, Daryl, how about you? Yeah, and let me say this. Wait, Natanya, does that sound okay for you? Robin? Naomi? Isaiah? Ashlyn? Elizabeth? Roberta? Ruth? I saw her, I was waiting. Okay, let's do this then too. If you don't transfer, don't update to what it should be. Because I don't know if we're ever gonna make that up. Does that make sense? So let's just, so if you don't transfer money over, then we just won't document that as it was transferred over. So I guess you don't have to start another column, just fix the numbers for those two accounts to actuals. And then, so that where it says 28,904, that'll say 17,072.62, and you won't have to do the asterisk, because that, it is what it is. You might put an asterisk just to say that because of low giving, we did not designate funds to those, but we don't have to. Does that make sense? Right. Right. Correctamundo. All right. Any questions about the designated stuff? Does anybody have any handcuffs? I'm kidding. All right. If there are no questions on those, let's vote on the current financial budget, the current designated. Well, wait, no, let's not yet. One more thing. On the very top of that first page, you have this little bit right up here. Let's look through that. So as of June 7th, we have we had $16,000 in our checking, but actual balance as of June 12th was only $2,016. Our actual budget in our designated account, which is all those different categories for youth camp, youth savings, all of those, is $17,072.62. Then we have another savings account that is just for building fund that has $1,944.85. And then we have a savings account that we've had forever that nobody knows why we had that, if I remember right, that has $11.43. And I think that savings is for our overdraft protection, right? So if we overdraft a check, we better not go over by more than $11.43. So, all right, so we've gone through everything except one more part, that very, very top. We have 3 weeks, actually we have 2 Sundays left, right? Because we have this Sunday, we have, okay, so we have 3 Sundays left, and this Sunday did not break the bank at all. So we have 2 Sundays left. Here's what we have received this year is $77,000, almost $78,000. It's $77,982.44. So our shortfall for the budget, which our budget was $124,000, but our shortfall so far is $38,910.98. Again, remember we have 3 weeks left to the end of this fiscal year for us. So we have had a tremendous shortfall. When we were in the distance churching stuff and all of that, our giving was phenomenal. And then when we started coming back in person, it was like, So I don't know quite. It's the online giving that has really gone down, but some of those online givers are in church now. So we'll talk about that later in this business meeting, but we just need to approve the financial records thus far in 2020, 2021. Do I have a motion to, this comes in the form of a motion from the Finance Committee, doesn't it? So it only needs a second, and Naomi seconds it. No, both of them, because they both come from the Finance Committee. So, all those in favor of accepting the minutes, what? No, it doesn't have to be a second. Because it comes from the Finance Committee meeting, from the Finance Committee is a presentation, it only needs a second. And Naomi seconded it. So, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your other hand. Passed unanimously. Okay, next, let me cross this off. Next, let's look at these next two papers. This is the budget for 2021, 2022. Go ahead and go to the back page real quick. We'll talk through this backwards. The total for this year was $124,050. We have reduced the budget for 2021-22 to $116,480, which is still more than what has been given this year by about $30,000. But I believe that we're coming out of COVID. I believe we are coming out of COVID, and I think where our church is, I think our membership is healthier. We have lots of little fires kind of sparking here and there, as good fires, not bad fires that we have to put out, but good fires that people are trying to fan into flames. So I'm really gonna preach on being a witness, being out there talking to people, all of that stuff. Reading your Bible, but I can't even get on that one right now because that's a soapbox I could stay on for every day, every Sunday for the next 17 years. So going backwards, women's ministry, we kept the same. Men's and fellowship, or youth fellowship, we kept the same. Any questions about those three? Fellowship expenses we reduced to $1,500, and we did not spend $1,500 this year, and we feel like we will not be close to $1,500 next year, or this year, because we're going to use the glass plates. We'll bring cups. We have cups over that we can use for our potlucks. We can wash them. Our water bill's going to go up a little bit, but we're going to be able to use that stuff and not have to. I mean, our carbon footprint is going to be less. That's a word that I really don't care about, but it is what it is. So that's that. Taxes, special assessments stayed the same, because that kind of does stay the same. Our insurance, we kept it at $8,300, and that is money that we're going to set aside. So we'll kind of know how to gauge that. We maybe have to have a special call business meeting halfway through the year, maybe in November, December, January, to maybe increase that budget amount, just because our insurance is going to go up a little bit. The daycare will take care of that overage, so hopefully that doesn't change much. Maintenance, we kept the same for Mandan and for Bismarck. That's on the first page. And we kept them the same at that number because we thought if we need to borrow from one to use for the other, we could do that. Because right now, nothing is really happening with Mandan. And like I said, we'll talk about the daycare at some point in time, and then we'll talk about everything that I might have to stand up because I'm going to get kind of excited about that. But anyhow, I'm okay. So that's that. We kept telephone, internet, website, gas, water, and electricity all the same, simply because the conglomeration of all of them should balance each other out. So we might use more water, but we might use less gas. Our internet, telephone, and website we might use a little bit less or a little bit more, and our electricity might be more or less. One of the things that I really want to concentrate on this next year is, if we have funds available, is to get all the rest of the lighting in the rest of the building these kind of lights. Lowe's sells them, again, they have 5 different settings that you can set them on, different colored lights, like, and I'm not saying red, green, that color, I'm saying like from a yellow to a daylight, there's 5 different settings on those that you can, I think with a remote you can change them. So, nap time, back there, right. They're just a much more versatile. These are dimmable as well, but they don't change color. So that's something, and that will decrease our electricity because we'll be switching to LED. So those we kept the same. The loan payment we increased to $14,000. Okay, and that is the loan for the remodel for the daycare. Okay, so that might be something that we do not have to use a lot of, because once the daycare is full, that hopefully the daycare will use the proceeds that they have to pay that loan off as quickly as possible. So, and that's, again, daycare. Wait, we'll talk about that, okay? Just so that you know these numbers, though. So if that is the case, that takes our budget total from $116,000 to $102,000. Okay, our giving was $77,000, almost $78,000. So we might be right around $80,000 giving. So now we're only $20,000 away from a realistic budget. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Okay. Office expenses, we kept the same. We increased advertising and promotions. Are those backwards? Oh, wait a minute. You're right. Sorry. The 3,000. When I looked at that too, I was like, why did we increase it? The payment went down. Payment's lower, yes. Yes, isn't that crazy? Yeah. So office stayed the same. Advertising and promotion, we trimmed $1,500 off that. We kept music, worship, and technical supplies the same. Decreased our family fellowship evangelism. Just because we're coming out of COVID, I don't know for sure how much we're going to get to do. Part of that is the popcorn, the flavorings for the snow cones, those type of things. Ashland's already getting excited about snow cones. You got to work the snow cones to get snow cones. So. Children's summer ministries, we changed from $500 to $25 to $250. Is if we do a backyard Bible club, we buy a kit. I don't know if we're going to necessarily do that this year. People are still really leery about functions. I mean, that's why I'm really talking like I talk, because I think we need to get a little more bold. I'm really hoping that we don't live our lives for the rest of eternity in fear, like we have lots of people have for the last year. Youth education, we went from 500 to 100 because we don't really care what they learn. No, I have stuff that I've been using, so we really don't take from that at all. Literature magazines, we dropped from 1,000 to 300. When Sunday schools start, we still have money in there that will help fund curriculum for those. Nursery stayed the same. I don't think we touched it last year. My tithe, my medical, my retirement, my housing, and my salary all stayed the same. That'll be reconfigured just a little bit. And then our cooperative program and our associational giving decreased about $500. So, and that is another thing that because our funds were low, we did not contribute to that, which we need to, even if it's a little bit, we need to be perfect. Absolutely no, 2.5 or something like that. It is. So, and that's why I'm saying, and we'll talk about this more but I'll detail it out more, is that I would like it if we could write a check every week, because then it's going to be $16.25 or $45.85, versus boom, we gotta do a big. 78,000. I don't know. Yeah. No, no. I just know that, I just know that as a person who gets paid, all of you do, I like to get paid over amount of time versus getting getting $50,000 out at once. Then I have to budget it. And I think for us it would just be a pill that we could swallow every time. Does that make sense? I would love that because I think $500 to send them a check for $500 or $250 is where we're at right now is like that's I, you know. But if we do send a check for $16, and I'm making these numbers up, but $16 would be like $800 if we had an $800 offering. Right. 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 And let her speak for herself. Yep. And even if it's once a month or even maybe twice a month, maybe it might be easier twice a month. But it's based on our giving. So if our giving is $10,000, then we'd have to give $250. 2.5%. Hey, Daryl has started playing the lottery just for that. He's like, I have not. All right, so any questions about any of the numbers? So, I wanted to explain this. So, Passler's Medical is at $10,568 right now. Okay? If this gets approved, my balance will really be $7,000 whatever. Because that $3,000 that's overage in 2021 will be deducted right away from 21, 22. And then I just need to show that to my family and say, no. Exactly. Yeah. So any questions about any of the budget items? All right, this comes as a motion from the Finance Committee, so it does not need it doesn't need a motion, it does need a second. Isaiah McDonald has seconded the motion. Any other discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Here. Oh, the motion passes, I think, unanimously. Well, let me ask for anybody not in favor of the budget, raise your hand. Okay. I did have one person. Did you raise your hand, Natanya? Roberta, did you? You were writing, so did you raise your hand? Okay, then it's unanimous. Well, I didn't know if I needed to say abstain. One or two abstained. Okay, here we go. Oh, this one's done. Oh, no, next one. Okay, so here's the next thing is this. We have, Robin is the director of the daycare, and she is paying the bills for the daycare, and Roberta's paying the bills for the church. What I would like to recommend, and you guys talk about it, is I would like Robin to pay all the bills for the church and the daycare. She has set up a program called QuickBooks, which I'm sure you've heard of, and it's kind of just a click and it's done, but I would like Roberta to do all of the deposits for the giving, because I don't want Robin to know how much Pat gives, or how much Daryl gives, or how much Michael gives, or how much Isaiah gives, or how much Roberta gives, because I don't, that's too close to me for her to know. I just don't want her to know that. So Roberta can do all the giving. We can set up the program that we do the giving with so that Robin can't see contributions. That's the Realm app. And then Robin can pay all the bills. Does that make sense? So she would be cash in and Robin would be cash out. Any, it is. Talk. Okay. Is anybody is anybody okay with Isaiah dealing with? Did I word that wrong? No. So Robin and Isaiah would work on the QuickBooks aspect of paying cash out, accounts payable. Roberta would, the money counters would, nothing changes really. Money counters still count the monies in two. They give it to Roberta. Roberta does the deposit. She puts it in to the bank, all of that stuff. I think I would like to see if Robin and Roberta can both be can have transfer privileges. So, because when she's writing checks, she shouldn't have to call you. Can you transfer money over? She should just be able to go online and do the transfer and then make those. And exactly. So does everybody kind of see how this picture works? Does everybody? Right. I do. Right, and Robin would not be a signer. She would just be a writer. She would just write the checks. Right. That. Yep, exactly. And we put all of that into place on purpose just because that it takes all the response away, it takes all the liability away from the money counters in their capacity. It takes all the liability away from Roberta in her capacity. It would take all the accountability away from, or right, liability, that's the word I'm saying, from Robin and Isaiah in their capacity, and the check signers as well. And what's nice about it is it comes full circles because the check signers are the money counters. It goes full circle back to those people to sign those checks. So yeah, and we did that on purpose. However many years ago we did that. Any other questions? Anybody want to make a statement? Ashland, did you want to say something, Ashland? Did you want to say something? Oh, I thought you did. Nia, do you want to say something? Shaking her. Yep. Give me the mic. Give me the mic. I'll throw it down. Anybody? Mm-hmm. Right. It. Right. We still have a separate checking account for the daycare, and just so that, and because what Michael said is exactly right. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that though, that we do have a separate checking account for the daycare because I do not want the daycare to have to fund the church. Now, am I okay with the daycare funding the money for the remodel? Yeah, because that's what it was for. Am I okay with the daycare paying the payment for the loan for the new building? Yes, because that's why we started the daycare, was to move that forward. And again, I need to say this differently because none of that was us. I mean, we can't even take credit for coming up with the daycare idea to pay for the building. We would have sold the building 2 times if God would have let it happen. God has continued to step forward for us each time as we've needed him to. So that is that. So okay, I need a motion from someone to the motion would be that Robin and Isaiah would handle accounts payable and Roberta would handle accounts receivable for the church. I was gonna say that too. So,
I move a motion that Robin and Isaiah are
accounts payable,
accounts payable and Roberta is the accounts receivable.
right, right. Do I have a second from a non-family member? Natanya seconds it. Yeah, yep, she can. So I have a second, okay. Natanya, sorry. Any discussion? Okay. No, accounts payable, yes. She will just get the deposit, recount the deposit, and deposit the money, and do the transfers. Yep, July 1st. July 1st. Here's the one thing I want to say, just so that we make sure this is out there. Robin will handle all of the money for the daycare because it's on the Bright Wheel app. All of the people pay. Actually, you don't even handle that money. They pay on the Bright Wheel app. It goes right into the checking account. So that Robin will have the accounts receivable and accounts payable with the daycare, just because with that Bright Wheel. It's not People's Giving. No. No, it's just the parents of the daycare kids. So we have a motion by Daryl. We have a second by Natanya. Everybody's clear on everything with that. Any more discussion? Daryl has a question.
So when we go to sign checks and check signers, Robin will be bringing them to us and we sign them?
Yes, for the church, Robin will bring the checks for the church. Yes. How does that work for the daycare? You're a signer. Do we just need one signature in there? Okay. Okay. Yep. And we can, when we have everybody hired and we are full, then if we need to look at that a little bit differently, we can do that too. Right. Right. And we are looking at the state has a program for food that we can possibly be a part of. Our association or our convention has a grant that we can apply for maybe the doors if they ever get them right. So there are some other things that we can do for that. But let me stay on topic. All right. All those in favor of the motion that Robin and Isaiah handle accounts payable for the church, Roberta handles accounts receivable for the church, say aye. All those opposed say nay. Passes unanimously. All right. More fun and exciting things now. So here's my question for you before we start talking about some ministry opportunities. How do you think we're doing? The church, everything. Mm-hmm. Complacent. Yep. Yes, we were. Because we were moving. Because if you remember, mm-hmm. Yep. It's like we pulled our sails down. agree. Completely agree. Thank you for saying that. Pat said he felt that it's been 3 years and we've been complacent. I'm saying this so that if anybody's watching online, they can hear it. That when the first sale of the building fell through, that we just kind of pulled everything back. And I completely agree. And then COVID hit. COVID didn't help anybody. I talked with Jeff. Anybody else? How are we doing? I think so too. Mm-hmm. We were moving. I thought we'd be there by now already. And that's me saying that myself. I thought we'd be in the building already. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I completely agree. What Roberta said was, Pat's right on the money, that we kind of stopped all this because we were going there. Did I encapsulate that pretty well? Ruth.
I feel like we have lost our dedication to like each other. We have this like, and I'm not speaking to anybody individually, but like we as a church don't have community right now, which is ironic because our name is now Community Church. But I feel like we're seeing these things as like obligations, and part of
Right.
like what Pat said about us doing things half-heartedly is we have this mindset of we're doing this for this organization versus
Right.
we're doing this to help each other as the body.
Right. We've lost community, is what Ruth said. We're not dedicated to each other or to the ministries that we still kind of limp along with. Yep. Natanya, you raised your hand. Did you raise your hand? Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you did. Sorry. I just don't want to miss anybody if anybody raised their hand. So anybody else, how are we doing? So then my next question is, how do we start going again? I have lots of notes on my page, but I want to, how do we start going again? Yep. And then youth group, and now and we've got another couple in our church that have their own Bible study with another couple, just to take down barriers. These people blew out of a church, so they're kind of healing, and I don't want to say too much because I don't want to be descriptive and have anybody figure it out, but we have that going. That's one of the things, the little fires. It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know what was happening. That's exciting. I love not knowing what's going on in the church because stuff's happening. So yes, I completely agree. Small groups is the big thing, and that. I thought it was 26. Right. Well, and I think, right, right. It, I have some things, but. Are you shaped for ministry? Perfect. Yep. And we don't talk about those classes or the spiritual gifts much because it's uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just getting involved, the interweaving, getting classes, understanding what our gifts are, that's huge. Michael? Yep. All the youth. Yep. Oh, yeah. No, I understand. Mm-hmm. Josh and Fabiola. I mean, they wanted to. Right. Yep. Yep. Right. Not really. The covenant kind of safeguards that. So, anything else? What are some other things that we can do to overcome the complacency, overcome the indifference to community or the non-dedication to each other? Those were the things that I wrote down. We have small groups, fellowships.
That's what I was gonna say, is talking to each other.
You mean do like we did the neighborhood barbecues a couple years ago? Remember those? Those were pretty fun. Yes, we could. Quiche Delay. I think I'd rather just get the grill out and cook some hamburgers. I don't think we have the manpower to do something like that right now, but go ahead, Robin. But parking lot. We got tons of place to do it.
I think we have a really unique opportunity being really small right now. I think the classes, if we could really focus, rather than, again, splintering off in a
Mm-hmm.
thousand directions, if we could really focus on getting everybody, we could realistically get everybody through every class
That's
in the
very
next
true.
year. And those classes would facilitate everything that we're missing
Yep,
right now. So,
you are right.
I mean, I don't know that we need to try to do 1,000 things. Let's try to do one solid thing.
Right. Or longer, 3 or 4. Yeah, 3's pretty deep. I mean, as far as yep, something like that. Yep. I mean, and if we and yep. For those of you who are online, we're talking about doing the classes. The CLASS is that we've had 101, 201, 301, and 401, and maybe and just focusing on maybe everybody doing it again because it's been many years for some of you. We've reformatted it a little bit. The membership class is a little bit shorter because we don't. There's some of the things that we felt as we grew, they weren't necessary. Um, so those are some things that we can definitely talk through. So I'm writing that down. I put like 4 stars by the classes, um, to talk through that. Yes. 1 to be a member, 2 is kind of to serve, 3 was to lead, and then 4 is, we've never done 4. 4 is kind of a core class, excuse me, where it's just, lots of people will take it, but only a certain amount of people will probably be that core. And this room could be the core. We have some people who aren't here today because they're traveling or physically can't be here or that type of thing. So those people might also be a part of this core. But anything else as far as things to get out of the funk that we're in? All right, so I have a couple of things that we need to talk through just for direction. Yeah. Yes, let's do that now. Let's do that now. You need to use this. Or, yeah, let's turn on Isaiah's microphone. She'll just stand really close to me, she said.
I was kind of joking. This is a little awkward. Heavy microphone. Here, this is good. I guess that wasn't good enough. Okay, I'm sorry. I will endeavor to make sure that there is a daycare report when we have these meetings, because the daycare is definitely a part of the church. So just to catch us all up. There. Oh, that's awful. How do you do that? Okay, that's better. Just a reminder, the daycare is part of the church. It is not a separate entity in any way. Completely legally, we are 100%. The daycare is a ministry of the church. So everything that happens in the daycare comes under the church. So you should have had a financial report today. I apologize. It didn't even cross my mind that that's something that you should have had. So well, I'll try to make that happen for next time. Daycare is starting out well. We are at about a little over half capacity. We are increasing this week, and I'm going to start advertising for a few more spots that we have opened up because we've hired one more person. We have 2 more full-time employees as of this past week, and that's been fantastic. And one of them is only with us for the summer, so please don't stop praying for the right full-time people to come in. Right now, the daycare is able to meet all of its expenses, which for a brand new business to be able to meet all of its expenses within the first few months is not normal. Saying that in all transparency, I am not taking a salary yet. I'm taking a small, I guess I'd call it a stipend, because for reasons that involve other financial stuff, I have to get paid something. And so I am getting paid some. So we're not meeting our expenses in that if you had somebody else doing my position, we wouldn't have enough money to pay them. So let me just say that. But we're very close, and to be that close to making all of our own expenses this early is fantastic. As soon as we can get one more full-time person hired, we should be able to fill to capacity. And then by the end of the summer, I'm hoping to have my CDA so that we can go to a larger center. Our rooms are already ready to hold 36 kids. We're only licensed for 30 kids. But as soon as I get my CDA, we can license for over 30 kids, so we can immediately go to 36. So depending on what ages those 6 extra kids are, that's another $6,000 a month, roughly, $5,000 to $6,000 a month. As soon as we are fully staffed and full at 30, we will, I'm estimating, and it's a conservative estimate, that the daycare will bring in a profit of $5,000 a month, which is what we want it to make to be able to pay a payment to do with the work that we want to do in Mandan. Not saying that we'll be able to do that immediately, but just on the small scale of the daycare, we will be ready as soon as we're fully staffed. And as soon as we're fully staffed, I have no doubt that we will be full for children. I have a large waiting list, especially of infants already. So just pray for direction for that as well. Do you have questions about how things are being run in the daycare? Any questions at all about the daycare? That was just a brief. Just correct. That is just, yeah. When we're at 30 kids, which is what we're licensed and set up to do now, we will clear $5,000 a month. Michael? No, 36 is just the classroom space that we currently are using. It's set up to do a maximum of 36 kids, but we can't have 36 yet because we're not licensed for. After 36, then we'll need to do some more. And we're also talking about the possibility, I'll throw this out there so it's not a brand new concept to anybody, that we may leave the daycare portion small and cap it at 36. Our parents are loving the smaller facility, and then using this end and that end kind of as they are possibly for an after-school program and or a summer program. A whole lot less employees needed for a whole lot more children. It's also a huge need in our community. So it may be best to just keep the daycare, the 5 and under crowd, a small facility, and then take in elementary kids for after school and summer. So, yes, Michael? Yep, we are, I want to say that we have over 20 kids enrolled, but we have a lot of part-time kids. And so I can't tell you exactly how many full-time spots are currently filled. I think the most we have any one day is 17, I think. Any other questions? All right, that's it.
Okay, so that was that. And like I said, the goal is that the daycare will drive the payment for the remodel of the new building. And again, we can't take any credit for that because we would have sold it twice already. So I have some questions for you about some activities that we already have on the slate. Music in the park. Is that something that we feel we can do? It's Thursday nights. It's about an hour and a half time. We either make popcorn or we make snow cones. You're at Taekwondo normally. You can be there for the beginning part of it. That's my daughter's training to be a ninja. But do we think that we can do that? I need feedback. If you don't say anything, I'm going to say that as a no. Okay. 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 You're done. Me, Daryl, Galen Lyle, Rebecca and John. Rebecca and John were pretty consistent, yep. Lisa came a couple times. So, awesome. And then Mary Beth moved away, punk. She was pretty consistent too. Maybe she can fly up, I don't know. Okay. It normally starts, we try to get there by 6 to get stuff set up by, I think 6:30, doesn't it? Start at 6:30? And then it's like an hour long. It's only like an hour long, and then we have cleanup and put stuff away. It's right around that. I think we're normally done by 8. So, yeah, about 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. And that. Okay. Well, here's what we've done in the past, and we don't. Yep. Here's what we've done in the past, but we don't have to do this. Is we took the stuff to them. I mean, we took the popcorn to them. We took the snow cones to them. We don't have to do that. They could. I mean, if we have people, we could. But if we don't, we could just serve. So if we only have 1 or 2 people, then yeah. Oh man, it is. It is. It was. Yep. Right. Exactly. So, am I hearing this as a yes? This is something that I think we should do.
I'm ready to get going on it.
Okay.
This Thursday, we're getting ready to start it, so.
Okay.
Clean things cleaned up, get our supplies ready for it.
That's yeah. We might have to buy new popcorn.
I'll try and be there every Thursday to help haul stuff over and
Yep.
stuff back.
Okay.
Do the past years.
Okay. Michael. It's down. Yep. Yep. Yeah. They started last week. They canceled Tuesday and they canceled Thursday. Thank goodness, because we were on the hook for Thursday, but they canceled. So I went, oh. I called Steve Harmon, and he said, no, we didn't have it. I was like, oh, good. So I was about it until Friday morning, so. Okay, so that is a yes. We think we can make that one work. So landscaping. This is daycare stuff. Here's what we have for landscaping. Daryl and I are gonna stretch out hose so that we can hopefully water all of the trees in one shot. I didn't even think about this, Daryl. I wonder if we could get a splitter, and then we can go right off of there and do the 200 feet that way and the other one this way. So, okay. Yep, we'll talk about that, but so that we can turn on the hose one time, it waters all the trees. We can let it run for however long we want to let it run. It's not like it's going to run, spray into the air and evaporate. It'll stay in the grass. And then, so with landscaping, we need to take the sand out of the volleyball court about 3 or 4 inches. I've got a couple people with tractors that I'm going to try to align with that. We need to take the sand to the landfill, and we have this pile of dirt out here we just got for $500, 16 tons, to put the dirt into where the volleyball court was and plant grass on that. So we are going to try to do that this week. The other thing that we need to do you know anybody with a sod cutter, Pat? We need to use a sod cutter, cut the path where the bricks are going to go, and then use that sod to cover the hill and maybe some of the volleyball court so that we can then put the bricks in, create that path, and then start putting things in like the gazebo thing that we have and a couple other things. So landscaping is a big thing. I got 2 more things. Dessert auction.
Yes.
Okay. Michael, you had your hand up?
In July. Yeah.
That might be a little bit much for one evening, but
It'll be our. Oh my gosh. Wait, that would be.
Robin. Oh. Okay. I'm okay with that, but here's my other fellowship thing that we got to do, though. We have 2 prime ribs in there that I want to get out of that freezer. That's okay. We can just do a different dinner. We could just do another dinner. But then we still, but how she was talking about was not having a meal, just doing, right. So everybody's in favor of the dessert auction, though. That white elephant gift. So maybe if we have 2 events, maybe that'll work better. Huh? Well, no, we have two roasts. We have 2 prime ribs. So that would be, huh? Probably 30. We'll see. Okay, the last one is this. Robin has talked about the daycare as a ministry of the church, and we've hired these new full-time people. So I want to know, Carter, I want to know why the coffee machine's not working yet. What's that? Okay. You don't have that time yet. The last thing I have, and we need to, there you go. The last thing I have, and this is not something we have to do. Carter, shh. Carter, no shouting. You can run, but just don't shout. Okay? The other thing, and I'm just putting this out there, Pat said it, and I agree with this, we need to not stop doing our ministries that we were doing. We need to reinitiate Solheim as a school that we adopt this fall. So just be in prayer about that, Ashlyn, okay?